MashaAllah. Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Imad. Ahmed, I have 8 to 10 minutes, so I'm going to be very quick. I'm the director of an organization called New Crescent Society. I'll introduce us very briefly, and we have some of our New Crescent Society Moonsighters here today. I'm also a PhD candidate at the University of Cambridge, and the research I do looks into these questions here. Why is it that we have these different dates in the UK? Is there a solution? And I want to discuss a little bit about local sighting. But really, before I begin and say anything, I want to say how honoured I am to be here in Bristol, how honoured I am to be here with all of the ulama here today. Anything I'm about to say today, it is already based on the work that they laid down and the foundations that were laid down here in Britain by the ulama here today. Because they were the first ulama to question, what are we doing? Why are we doing it in this way? And to present other alternatives. So I'm eternally grateful for them. And if we go on to the next slide, my own journey, I grew up in London. I grew up near this area called Leabridge Road. And my whole life, as far as I really remember, before I was born, there were 2 mosques in Leabridge Road. Now there's 4 mosques, but when I made these slides, there were only 2. And these 2 masjids on the same road never celebrated Eid on the same date. So growing up, it was very confusing for me. And even my own family were divided. Some were following one masjid, some were following the other masjid. Now they follow me, so we're not so divided, but we were. Now I have something to say on it, but we were divided. And you know the story better than others. And even as a kid, it would bother me. Am I fasting on the right date? And I know this will resonate with some of you, because to break the fast early, to do Eid, it just would upset me. Even I remember being 12, 13 years old, really it used to bother me. But it was bothering me until, if I go to the next slide, I went on a holiday with this family, United Holiday. We went to Cape Town in South Africa. And in South Africa, I saw something amazing. I saw thousands of people like this going out to sight the moon. This one is for Eid. And they were doing iftar together on the beach. About 5,000–6,000 people. Now you can see on TikTok they have drone footage that they all went out to sight the moon together. This fellow, he's passed away now, he was a Sunni Imam. He was the head of the Moonsighting committee. But all the ulama would come together and all the people would sight the moon together. And they would celebrate Ramadan together. They would fast together and they would do Eid together. And this inspired me because they are also like us, not living in a Muslim country. South Africa is a non-Muslim country, but they found a solution. So this really inspired me. So with that in mind, I returned back to the UK and I founded this organisation called New Crescent Society. I started to learn about astronomy with the explicit aim of thinking about the UK Islamic calendar issue, but our organisation is a bit wider and we think about astronomy and Islam in general. If we come to the next slide. Now, based on my research, I'm going to present a simple model as to why is it that we have differences of opinions here in the UK. This is a simple model, we can make it more complex, that's what my PhD does, but this is, I feel, accurate, and the ulama can verify or not. All of the, not all, but the majority of Muslims who are in the UK, as a fact, are migrants or children of migrants like myself. My father came in the 60s from Bangladesh. And the countries they come from, if we stay within South Asia, they actually do local moon sighting. They look for the moon in their own area. They don't follow Saudi, they don't follow anyone. I come from Bangladesh, they're just in Bangladesh. When they came here, they found a problem in the UK, which is when they were looking for the moon, it was actually very cloudy. It is a little bit cloudy in the UK. And they were unable really to have a calendar that was sustainable, because you'd have many months of not seeing the moon. So the majority of mosques in the UK, as a fact, they go to other countries. As you know, there are mosques in Bristol that will follow the alleged moon sighting of Saudi. There are mosques who will also go to South Africa and Morocco and so on. So this going to other countries is one of the issues. But there is a problem. Now this is a moon visibility map. As was said before, it's predicted visibility map. There's some level of, I'm not saying error, but you can't 100% say yes, it'll be visible. You can say it won't be visible. But as you can see, here I am in Bristol, which is like here. If I'm following this country, they have one visibility. You can see it's in the green zone, maybe visible. So if I'm following Morocco, they might see it. If I'm following Saudi, they might not see it. If I follow this country or that country or that country, we in one town in Bristol follow multiple countries. But as long as we in the UK are following different countries, and different countries see the moon on different dates, we in the UK will not be able to have a united calendar. If I go to the next slide, there is a bigger problem, which is a Saudi problem, and they've talked about it before. To make it very quick, the moon sighting in Saudis are not scientifically possible or accurate. This year is an example. They claim to see the moon. He even came on TikTok. The guy said, "Oh, I saw the moon with my eyes." This moon was not even possible to see with the highest spec telescopes in the planet. You could not see that moon, but they claim it. Why they claim it, I don't know. But as the ulama have already said, Saudis say, don't follow us. Anyway, we're following them. They don't say to follow them. Their own fiqh says don't follow them. But this is another cause of the divide. It is a cause of the divide, because if Saudi didn't fake their moon sightings, we would have had a united Eid, because all those countries saw the moon on the same date. But irrespective of Saudi, the root problem is, if we are going to other countries, we'll never have unity. And if I go to the next slide. So then the question arose for me, could we have local moon sighting in the UK? Could we just sight it in the UK and without reference to others? And this is where this project began 8 years ago, to experiment, can we see the moon? And if we go forward a bit, 5 or 6 years ago now, we held a big conference at Greenwich. And this was where I really first started to engage the ulama. And I'm so proud happy to be in front of the ulama today, because I really want to present some ideas to them and to work really closely in the future. But if we move forward, we said that, okay, there's many fiqh positions in the UK. We have to, in order to work with one another, we have to kind of accept that people have different fiqh positions, fine, but we have to come to one solution. And we have to have it something that we agree on together. And they've already said, just the Sheikh said earlier, you're not going to find unity on anything except that which is grounded in the Quran and the Sunnah. So let's see how this plays out in real life. So I began by saying, if we go to the next slide, you know, this is a lot of this tapping. What we discussed in this conference is, if we are to have unity, we need to have something which matches this criteria. Is it Islamically valid? You're not going to have unity on something which isn't Islamically valid. Scientifically valid. Is something acceptable to the community and practical. Practical means there are some solutions, okay, possible, but it's so hard to do. It's not practical to actually do. So if we just begin, what we looked at is calculations. And what we said about calculations, although there's some people out there with fatwas and they're saying it's Islamically valid, there's two big problems with calculations. Number one, there are major Islamic concerns about using calculations, and the ulama have already discussed that, I don't need to say. And secondly, there is a question of scientific validity over calculations. Just to rely on calculations when you can't actually calculate the crescent, is that even acceptable? So for this reason, anybody who says we use calculation for unity is never going to work. Second one is to follow Saudi. I'll just keep it quick, but Saudi, I'm saying, have got irregular, fake, phantom moons. You will never ever have unity in this country. If anybody says we will follow Saudi and find unity, not possible. Because the ulama will say, how can I do a fast when somebody's not really seen the moon? Or how can I do Eid when the moon is not seen? And they are carrying that, as they've mentioned. In terms of following Morocco, is it Islamically valid? Yes. But what I would say is, when I speak to the Saudi following mosques, they say to me, look, we're not going to follow Morocco, we follow Saudi, for whatever reason. But if you can take us to local sighting, we'd consider it. So that's why I say, because I work with the Saudi following mosques as well. Global sighting, I don't want to talk about it too much, but there's a lot of complications with global sighting. But here, for time, I want to come to UK-based sighting, local sighting. Is it Islamically valid? Yes, it's the practice of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to look in your own area. Scientifically valid, of course. Acceptable, but practical. In the past, we didn't have moon sightings. In the past, we had no choice, as the ulama said. But the only choice was to rely on a verifiable moon sighting abroad. And that's what I did my whole life. But I asked, could it be practical for us to see the moon in the future? And the answer was, basically, if we go to the next slide, yes, alhamdulillah, for 8 years we've been sighting the moon. And I can tell you after 8 years, the moon is perfectly visible in the UK. It is cloudy, but we have to work together, and that's exactly what they do in other countries. So there are times when our moon sighters, the brother Asif, Tahir, they see the moon in Bristol, we didn't see it in London. Sometimes we saw it in Birmingham, like the brothers have come from Birmingham, but we didn't see it in Cornwall. But when we work together as a community, it's fine, we can. But it took until this point, because we had to develop this. We have, if you just press the button again, you'll see that we have moon sighters across the country. Don't worry, we can just keep going forward. We see the moon, alhamdulillah, and if we go to the next few slides, these are just some pictures of our moon sighting, and we also live stream the moon sighting. And what I would love to say to the ulama is we'd love to have you at our moon sightings. It would be amazing if they could verify the moon sightings with us. They see it and they can declare directly every single month. The ulama declare it would be so nice. I actually work at the observatory. The observatory the non-Muslims love moon sighting when they see it, because they see us connecting in a way that they don't know how to connect, because we do it with Allah. And if I just keep on this slide, some of the most well-viewed stuff on the moon sighting YouTube. Okay, just the last thing. This is our records from moon sighting. And it shows every month, did we see the moon, did we not see the moon, summarized. And I'm just saying and showing that the UK moon sighting, compared to any other country, is no different. We don't live in such a place where the moon is not visible. It is visible, and just coming to the end of, if we just come back, just to say where we are now. Alhamdulillah, we have set up the moon sightings, but we haven't rolled it out. So what this masjid, Hazrat Bilal Masjid, the other masjids here, the Sunni mosque, what they have done for this Ramadan, I believe was the best thing. They've celebrated on the date that was based on a moon sighting. But where we want to head towards is to start to work with the ulama and to liaise with the ulama and say, look, we have a system, we'd like you to look at it, like you to work with us, because there's no reason why we cannot be like South Africa, going out. It could be your moon sighting that started Ramadan. It could be the ulama who declare it for us here with their own eyes. And that would be a wonderful experience for us. But that will only come when we have the network is set up, but when we work together more with the masajid and work towards that local sighting. I've gone over my time, but I've tried to be very quick. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.